Hello, everyone. Good afternoon. My name is James McCarty, and I'm the Associate Director of Admissions here at the Johns Hopkins School of Education. I am also the point person, if you will, as far as admission goes to the MS in Educational Policy program. And I'm excited to be here with all of you today. I'm thrilled to see some familiar names in the attendee list. And we have a wonderful program scheduled for you today to be able to ask questions to some of our current students in the educational policy program. Before we kick things off and I go through introductions and share a little bit more about what the format for today will be, I'd like to pass things off to Dr. Jonathan Plucker. Dr. Plucker is the faculty lead for the MS in Educational Policy program, and I wanted to make sure that he had some time to say hello and welcome everyone today. Thank you, Dr. Plucker.
Thank you, James. Good afternoon, everybody. It is nice to see, like James just said, some names we've seen before. As always, feel free to reach out to me if you have any questions or comments. Several of you have, which has been great. But today is one of our favorite sessions throughout the year for admissions to the program, which is where you get to ask students directly questions about the program. James will start with some questions, but you'll have plenty of opportunity to ask. We have two of our very best students with you today, which is very exciting. So thanks to Maddie and Emma for doing this. As Maddie and Emma know, we have no secrets in this in the education policy program. So ask any question you want. You're going to get a very honest answer back. Do not hold back. We want everyone to come into the program with their eyes as wide open as possible. With that, I will turn it back over to James and Maddie and Emma.
Thank you so much, Dr. Plucker. So yes, before we begin, just to kind of go through some housekeeping items. So this session that we're hosting today is a Zoom webinar. So you all can see and hear us, but we cannot see or hear you. We do want to make this a discussion today. So you'll see at the bottom of your screen, there's the Q&A function. Please feel free to utilize that today. As Dr. Plucker had mentioned, this session is really meant to be a conversation, a way for you to be able to ask questions to two of our current students in the educational policy program to get a better bird's eye view, a better insight as to what their experience is like, why they chose our program, and a lot more information. So please feel free to use that Q&A function at the bottom of your screen to submit questions as we go through today. To kick things off, I do have some pre-scripted questions just to begin conversation. But again, please feel free to submit questions as we go through today for both Maddie and Emma. I am going to now pass things off to both of them to give a brief hello and introduce themselves as well. So Maddie, if you can kick things off and feel free to introduce us, and then Emma, if you'd like to jump in right thereafter, that would be wonderful. Thank you.
Sure, thank you. So I'm Maddie. I am in the Pittsburgh, PA region. I am currently a math teacher in well, I guess Montour High School, but I guess no one would probably know unless you're from here. And this is I've been in the program for about a year, so I'll graduate in the spring.
Hi, my name is Emma. I am also from Pittsburgh. Go Steelers. Sorry if you're a Ravens fan. But I'm also from Pittsburgh. Currently, at the moment, I am a certified history teacher, but I am a permanent building sub for Upper St. Clair. Again, a school district that, unless you're familiar with the area, you wouldn't know. But at the moment, my assignment is regarding emotional support for students. So that's pretty much my background. I've been substituting for about 3 years, and I am currently in my year and 1 semester into the program. So I will also be graduating in the spring.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Both for being here with us today and sharing your experience. I really appreciate it, Maddie and Emma. To kick things off, so Maddie and Emma, can you share a little bit about why you got into educational policy? Kind of what was the driving factors and forces to pursue a career in educational policy? And then also, if you can talk a little bit about why us? Why did you choose the Johns Hopkins School of Education and our specific program in educational policy?
Do you want to start, Emma, or
Start if you like.
go for it? Yeah.
Okay. Sorry about the creaky stool. So I got into education policy because I kind of viewed it as a way of working behind the scenes, where I have an impact on students' lives, but not where they directly see me. Now, granted, I do enjoy being in the classroom. I do love interacting and having a student body that respects me, and I'm able to teach content and teach to my own lessons. But at the same time, as many people who are educators know, you see things in your classroom or in your school where you're like, that could be changed. Or maybe if we did this instead, we would see a whole different type of reaction from the students that would be positive. So I would see that from my own school that I went to in Pittsburgh, my own high school. I saw that in my student teaching school, which was, again, also in Pittsburgh. I saw that in my observation schools that I went to, and now I see it even in my own job. So I wanted to apply for an education policy program to have that experience and have that research and have that knowledge when it comes to working behind the scenes. And I chose Johns Hopkins because whenever I was looking over the curriculum that other schools provided, I saw what type of classes that they taught, and it really spoke to me. I'm going to be honest with you, the statistics and the educational finance was not my cup of tea. I'm a history major, me and numbers, we don't get along. But I did really resonate a lot with federal education and state and local, because you want to get involved in your community. You want to get involved with your state and ways to make a change. So I saw the curriculum for this program and I thought to apply, and I got in, and now I am here. So, Maddie, you could totally take it away.
All right. So the reason I went into education policy, I didn't even know it was a thing until like 3 years ago. I didn't realize, obviously I know policy is a thing. I didn't realize how specific it can get. I was in a charter school in Pittsburgh about a few years ago. It was my first teaching job. And I loved my students there, but some of the morals of the school or some of the actions they did weren't quite aligning with me. And I really wanted to make a change in that way. And I think from the teacher perspective, it can be hard when you're teaching in the classroom and you want to do more for your students, but you're kind of limited to just teaching math. There's so much more that needs to change. And while talking with other teachers, they were kind of always ranting about the different things that can change in education. And I met someone else who went to a college in Pittsburgh for education policy for her master's, and I was like, I didn't even know that was a thing. That's literally what I want to do. So after researching, I of course applied to the school she goes to, and this brings me to why I chose Johns Hopkins. Other schools didn't quite have the flexibility I wanted. The school, and Emma knows of it as well, the University of Pittsburgh had a wonderful program, but they didn't quite, theirs was in person. I didn't want to do that. I be lazy after work. I don't want to get off my couch and go to class. So I kind of wanted my own freedom to like do the work as I wanted. I didn't want to do a full term, like full-time classes, taking 4 to 5 classes like you would in undergrad. I needed more flexibility while still working my job, and Johns Hopkins offered that. And then honestly, Johns Hopkins has amazing, in my opinion, very good like scholarships as well. So I definitely would look into applying for those and anything they can offer, because that was super helpful for me and one of my driving factors as well.
Thank you. Thank you both, Maddie and Emma. That's just great information to share. And that was a perfect segue, Maddie, because working in admissions, I get so many questions about like, share a little bit like an overview of the program. How does it work? Can I do this program being, a full-time, working professional and still find that balance? And I think that's, it is a big concern for many is like, how do I make this work? If I'm both working, family, school, how do I balance all of these things? So I think that's a perfect segue. If both of you can share a little bit about your personal experience, what did that look like for you as far as starting in a new graduate program? Like just the balance of time management, finding enough time to complete assignments, do readings, things like that. And like, how much time did you spend studying each week, like prepping for courses? What was the time constraint for joining this program?
I can start this time. So yeah, Johns Hopkins is super nice because you do have the option to pick between full-time and part-time. So if you wanted the full-time, like you're out of undergrad and you're ready to just keep trucking through college, I mean, kudos to you. I had to take a year off, but you can do like the full-time finish in a year. And I know plenty of people in the program that did that and worked like part-time jobs as well. There were a few with kids as well. They had families. I did the part-time because I wanted to continue teaching. I didn't want to give it up just yet. So I've only been taking 1 to 2 classes a semester and it has gone great. I definitely would recommend having good time management, although I'm sure people can do it while procrastinating as well. I am pretty crazy when it comes to making a schedule. I would schedule every single day of what I'm going to do, but it's definitely manageable. I don't think there are any classes where I felt too overwhelmed with the workload. You definitely weeks with more work than others. I mean, there are times when papers are due and you think you're going with one topic and you switch to something else. It happens. But time management wise, I don't know. I'd say if you really spread it out, I'd do maybe an hour a day on a normal week, maybe more if you had a paper due or something, but definitely manageable for me at least. I guess it depends on the amount of classes you take, but for 1 to 2 classes, I'd say about an hour or so a day.
Just to go off of what Maddie said about working, allocating time for your work. My school that I work in has a block scheduling platform where each class is about an hour and 20 minutes. So whenever a teacher has a planning period, I would usually use that time as a means of getting ready. So again, usually an hour and 20. If I had an extra block off where I would be doing like a lunch duty or a library duty, I'd be focusing on the kids, but then like gradually I would work at times. So I would usually finish my work during the day. And again, if there was papers, I would focus more about brainstorming during the day and outlining during the day. And then later in the afternoon, whenever I would come home and feed my cat, and then I'd be like, okay, let's get this paper over with. So I would say every week, I think I spent around like 7 hours working on just like gradually working where I'm not overwhelmed all at once. But again, like Maddie said, if there was a paper that was coming up in the previous week and my outline was done and my brainstorming was done, sometimes it would just be like, let's just focus all this time on it and get her done. So that was like my time whenever it came to time management. And I was also a full-time student, so I never was overwhelmed by the amount of classes that we had, especially whenever the teachers would post presentations. And a lot of them were very, they were really good at communication. So if I had a question, I already had an answer. And then also with other students in the cohort as well, I was able to communicate with them. So my time management Even as a full-time student, I knew that if I did have any issues, I would have a support system to answer my questions. So
Thank you, ladies. Yeah, I think, really that's probably one of the most important skills to develop, and kind of be flexible with that time management, as you're starting a new journey, a new chapter of academics in your professional careers. That time management piece is so vitally important. Just for our attendees, just to kind of take a step back and do a little, I'll say, commercial break. So this session today is really the second part of a three-part series that we're hosting on the educational policy program. So the first session, which is posted on our the Johns Hopkins School of Ed YouTube page, was kind of like a broad overview of the program. So we gave a lot of specific information. This session is really kind of honing in, talking more about the student experience, what that looks like, and again, an opportunity for all of you to be able to answer questions. And our next session, which is coming up next month, that session's really going to focus on academics. Dr. Plucker will be back. He'll be hosting that session, and he really takes a deep dive into the content of the educational policy program. He'll talk through a little bit in more depth those expectations. I think one of his slides, he even brings up the student learning platform that we use, Canvas, and kind of shows you what to expect. So we really try to, with these three sessions, start broad and slowly work our way in to give you both a big picture overview of the program and really even at a microscopic level of what your student experience will be like. So I share all that to say that, I'm going to try to slip in some of that larger picture, basic information about the program for any of those of you attending that did not attend that first session. And the program that we offer is online asynchronous. And I think we really try to build in that level of flexibility. I'm comfortable saying this because I've heard Dr. Plucker say it, but he's mentioned in the past that for a lot of our students, this program is not first priority in the student's life. Many of our students, like Maddie, like Emma, are working full-time professionals. There's a lot of other components to life that require more of their time. And our faculty, I think, understand that. And through what Maddie and Emma both just shared, I think that kind of resonates with those student expectations, that there is a level of flexibility with that online asynchronous fashion that, you can kind of work your learning into when it works for you, whether it's nights and weekends or, as Emma shared, whether it's in the middle of a planning period. There's a level of flexibility to ideally try to meet our students truly where they're at, and create an educational experience that's going to benefit them. Perfect. Another segue. So, Maddie and Emma, can you talk a little bit about like assignments? In the online asynchronous learning world that you both are living in. What types of assignments are you submitting? What does that look like? Like, what are the frequency of assignments? Do you have things to do? Is it weekly, bi-weekly? Like, what does that look like as far as assignments, and what have you had to submit for your courses up to this point?
I can start this one. So whenever I think of the assignments, the first thing I think of is the discussion boards that most classes have to do. Some of them, they kind of vary in terms of time deadlines, where some of them could say, oh, just if you could get your main post in by Sunday of the first week of the module, that would be great. And then the next week, kind of respond to anyone who left a comment in your discussion posts, and then kind of follow through. And it forms what the name of the assignment is. It forms a discussion with your cohorts, with those in your cohort. So that's pretty much the primary assignment that I have, that everyone will experience, are those discussion posts. There are some unique assignments that we have had throughout the classes. I think the one that pops in my head first is in education finance. We had kind of a debate with another student in our class, which I found super informative, where you pick a side of a debate regarding a topic that you just learned about, and you kind of work off of the two sides to the argument. And you have to find awesome. You've always find great research. Your partner makes great points and then you rebuttal it. And then it's just like a great discussion and a great way to find resources together and come to a conclusion at the end. So I think those types of assignments really stick with me. There's always the papers and there's always the presentations, but I think ones where you interact with others and you read about what they found, you read about what they think. Those are the most influential assignments that I've seen so far in the program.
Thank you, Emma.
Sorry, my Wi-Fi is being weird, so if I cut out a little, I apologize. And then I was just gonna add to everything Emma said. You're kind of the worst because I was gonna talk about the debates as well. Those were some of my favorite assignments. I thought they were so cool to debate with another student, especially taking a side you don't typically take. That was hard. Since Emma touched a lot on some of the smaller assignments like discussion boards or weekly, the we had like 3 debates. I was going to touch on then our bigger assignments. We're big on like policy briefs are always going to be your final assignment. We've done like research projects, which was also one of my favorites in our education research class, where you pick something and you had to like collect a bunch of research articles on your topic and talk about the different methods they use and basically dissect like if it was a quality research paper or not. I thought that was super cool. One of my favorites. And then there's a lot of like op-eds, so opinion pieces, policy memos, so policy briefs, but like smaller. What else? Blog posts. So they really expose you to a lot of things you would see in media. Like if you read, trying to think of what we read from like Washington Post or New York Times, from there to like the Sage research articles, the journal articles. They kind of give you experience to write all of those. So those are bigger things you would see throughout the papers, like or see throughout the program is doing these papers where they're like analysis papers, policy briefs, etc. But those happen about, you'll have maybe 3 to 4 in each class. But they're pretty doable, like we talked about with the time management.
Awesome. Thank you, ladies. We received a question from Jake. So thank you, Jake. Great question. Jake asked, could you talk a little bit about what your plans or goals are after you finish the program? Are you planning to go into federal work, state, local, nonprofits, or something else? Related, how flexible have you found the program to be targeting those specific areas of interest for, where you see yourself progressing career-wise after our program?
I can start. That is a great question. I, at the moment, plan to teach for as long as I enjoy it, as until I tire out of it, I guess. So education policy is a bit of like my backup in a way, but not really, because I would love to continue to do research and work as it pops up. And I think this will be a future question that we have, but there are many opportunities for getting involved in the research and things that professors are doing while also working other jobs, which is great. And the program does do a great job of like tailoring to what you're interested in. I didn't have a specific interest going into it, and now I'm like very set on the way that Pennsylvania's funding formula is set up and just kind of how bad it is. But I do a ton of papers on that because I think it's really interesting being from PA. So you'll take a capstone course where you basically pick your topic and every single paper you do is on that topic. Everyone's required to take the capstone. So that's really nice because that is your time to really research and look into your topic. And then this one is optional, and I'm excited to see what it's like. I'll be taking experiential learning, I believe is what it's called, in the spring. And it's not quite an internship. It's kind of like a mentorship type thing where, from my understanding, you pick a topic, you research it, you put together an entire presentation for Dr. Plucker and other professors. and that's kind of all your choice. So I'll be doing that in the spring. So I'll share my email at some point, but you reach out in the spring and want to know more about it, I'll tell you at the end. Okay.
So I'm kind of the opposite way where rather than going off of research, that the research skills that I've learned in this program, I'm taking my experience that I've gained and turning it towards the administrative side of my school. I want to I love my district. Like, I can never say more positive things about it. So I want to stay there for a while. And eventually I would like to teach for a longer amount of time, but I plan to kind of use my master's in education policy and kind of further my knowledge in terms of administration. Hopefully, I've heard that I would make a great principal. I love controlled chaos. So I feel like I'm hoping that so far that this program has done a great job of preparing me for controlled chaos, but and what I would see in a school. But I kind of want to use it towards going down that direction in my school district. And if something happens in my life and I go somewhere else to a different school district, I think I would want to stay with the administration and in that realm of education rather than going more federal or state. So that was my goal whenever I was looking at education policy, and it's still my goal even where I'm at now.
Awesome. Thank you so much, ladies. We did receive quite a few other questions, so I'm gonna just kind of work our way through those. First question. Christina asks, my goal is to work outside the classroom as a policy analyst. Would you find the coursework to be applicable at a state or local level? I know we kind of just shared this a little bit, but if there's anything else that you'd like to talk about as far as the coursework, is it applicable as a policy analyst?
I actually, if I choose to leave teaching at some point, my backup is to be like a policy analyst at some point. I think I will end up leaving teaching maybe in quite a few years, but who knows what you're doing in the future. I mean, I'm like 5 to 10 years from now. And I do feel very prepared. I mean, you have a nice mix of your statistics courses, your research courses, and those professors are very hands-on on making sure you know the material. And then, of course, you have your federal and state policy classes that really connect to the current events of what's going on. So I feel very well prepared. I'm not
I also agree. I didn't know if Maddie was done or not. Maddie, did you finish? Are you all okay? I also agree. I believe that the statistics classes that we have do a great job of really working with policies and being able to analyze it. I'm taking the second statistics course in the spring. And so I'm ready to kind of see even further what that kind of helps with analyzing policy. But I have to recommend the research course, because that also does a great job of preparing you, of looking at a policy at a school, analyzing it, seeing, oh, does this research actually work with this policy? Is this actually a effective method to helping students? So, or helping a school district or helping teachers. So that is the class that I believe would be awesome for working with education policy. And also the state and local class does an amazing job of being able to dissect like what is going into the state, like what powers do the state have, what powers does a local authority have. So I believe those two classes together are great for a policy analyst or going into that field.
Thank you so much, ladies. Next, looks like the next couple of questions is more like the technical components of like, courses setup, and your experience as a student. So would you both mind sharing, do you feel that there's consistency from presentations of, do you find that there's consistency from presentation of coursework between professors? like as far as each of the classes that you're taking, the coursework and what they're sharing, is there sort of a consistency, some type of linear thread between what you're learning course by course?
I would say 100% yes. Like they're pretty much all, it's always discussion boards weekly, various readings. And then sometimes your bigger assignments, like the debates only popped up in education finance. The research project only popped up in a research class. So those will vary a bit, but they're pretty much like exactly the same. And I think that's what makes the time management even easier because you've done it before. So you should start to understand how much time it takes. If Emma wants to add.
No, that's perfect. And then also to add to that, I feel like the content that's taught in the classes, in the presentations, it can work in different classrooms as well. And to give an example, in the education finance class, we really focused on the term equity, which I hope everyone would know what that means, but we really focused it on a funding level. And I'm in the diversity class at the moment, and I'm looking at these issues that schools are experiencing in terms of equity with education funding and how that impacts students of minority groups. And it's crazy because I learned it in education finance class. So I'm able to bring that knowledge from one class to another, and I'm able to kind of remember those old presentations that I was able to learn from and apply that to other classes. And I'm applying it to the outside world as well. So I believe that it really is very they're working together. Like this whole program was really well built to like work together.
I'll also add, I always like to share with students. I get a lot of questions in admissions about like, what's the cohort size? How many students do you have each year? And, I would say each fall, we usually bring in a cohort somewhere between 25 and 40 students, or sorry, every summer, somewhere between 25 and 40 students, new incoming students into the program. So, relatively speaking, it's a small cohort of students in our program. And I always like to make sure that I share that, that I think it is, that is a direct representation of like the experience that you're going to have as a student. It is a close knit cohort. And, the students that you're in classes with, again, Emma, Maddie, you're going to work through the program with that same group of students. You're going to take the same classes together. And I think because of that close knit community that's been developed, as both Emma and Maddie have shared, the content kind of overlaps course by course. It's not like, oh, I'm starting a brand new semester and, everything is going to be completely new and different and unique. There is kind of that underlying thread between the faculty members, what you're learning in class, but then also your classmates as well. So thank you so much for sharing, ladies. Another question. So when are syllabi typically available? Like when can you first take a look at, a new course, the syllabus, or the new content for a new course?
When you register for classes, you can actually go and view them. I think it depends on if the professor wants to change anything or not, but I've found that typically it's the same professors teaching either that or they'll share with each other what has been taught before. So they've almost never really deviated from what was posted on our info systems thing. So I'm a little crazy when it comes to it, but I always jump ahead like before the semester even starts. I'll get started on some readings because like Emma mentioned before, discussion boards start right away. So I like to.
Awesome. Another question. Did you find that the access to scholarly search engines was sufficient? As far as like that research and finding scholarly sources, what resources are available? I'm assuming that faculty will also, like through your modules, will have different readings that are just posted right there. But besides what faculty are passing along and providing for you, what other types of search engines or opportunities do you have available as, a Johns Hopkins student to dive into some of that scholarly research?
So I would love to talk about this topic. I could never stop wait, sorry, that was my email. I could never stop complimenting the databases that Johns Hopkins provides in terms of finding research. I have the easiest time finding research that suits the topic that I'm looking for. It's very easy. And then if it doesn't have like full access to the entire text and you want to see and you want to read more into what you found, you can go on to Johns Hopkins database and you can request for them to gain access to the rest of it. So if you're ever stuck with just like 10 pages of a reading that you want to read more of, you can always contact Johns Hopkins and see like, hey, is there any way to access this in another way, or would you be able to request for more access, and they will help you. I forgot the name of it, but I've used it plenty of times, which I'm crazy I forgot, but it is awesome. I always feel like I will never not find anything that I need in terms of research, in terms of academic journals, in terms of even other students' thesis and doctoral thesis, anything. It's great. I love it. Even old newspaper clippings. So whenever it comes to the databases that they have, it's amazing.
Awesome. Awesome. Thank you, ladies. So just to kind of switch gears a little bit, like a topic that I get questions about a lot is just the, connectedness. How connected are you to the program, to your faculty members, fellow students, especially in the online asynchronous, educational world that both of you are living in as students right now. I think that there's huge benefits to that, with the flexibility that we talked about learning. But, could both of you talk a little bit about, just your experience in the cohort and how you've been able to create quality connections in that online asynchronous world that you're both living in?
Yeah, I can start. I promise they did not prep me beforehand to say this. I just cannot rave enough about Johns Hopkins. Like, I do feel very connected to the program and the professors and even the others in the program as well. Definitely recommendations to attend the residency week that they hold over the summer. It's in August every year, and that's when you get to meet your other classmates. That's when me and Emma met for the first time, despite graduating at the same university in the same major like 2 years before. We didn't know that. So it's great to get to know your peers during that week. And I feel like it's essential. I mean, you still get to know others who don't attend, but it's just an amazing moment. And then throughout your first year, the professors are very hands-on. Dr. Plucker is typically the advisor for everyone. I'm not sure if as the program grows, if that changes, but he will check in with every single student and make sure you're doing okay. And then towards like, if you've graduate or you're in your second year, I think he kind of lets you be free, but he'll still check in a lot. And then just the program in general, I mean, all the professors are great. I honestly, like, even if you disagree, I've never felt uncomfortable going to a professor or saying like, I need this or that, or what do you think of this? They're very like, almost like, not in a bad way, but in your face. Like, they want you to come to them and ask for help. And it is nice that there's only 25 to 40 each year joining, because you do get that very small like community where you feel like you're getting all the attention, and it is nice in that way. That's one of the best parts.
And I can add to that, not only does the residency help, but also the group discussions and group projects where you have to open up a discussion post in the group that you're assigned to, and you automatically start talking, you start brainstorming, you start saying, hey, I can talk, we can schedule a Zoom meeting on this day to go over it. I'm available on this day. I can't make it. Would you guys be able to send me a Google Doc with all the information, and I can add whatever I want. I can add like my thoughts. So not only are you connected during that residency, you're connected to your professors, but you're also connected even online to these people that you met in the residency from other classes that are taking this in other programs. So it's really nice to meet that. I think I have like 6 group chats, all from different projects. And every time you're doing a project and you have a question, it's great whenever you know I can ask this person or they can ask me. And it's very rewarding. You feel like, again, you have that support system. So even though it's online, you don't really see each other face to face, there is still that connection.
Ladies, you gave me a perfect segue. Like one of the most integral pieces, I think, to our program that helps our ed policy degree stand apart from others is that in-person residency that happens each summer. So just to kind of give some background information to all of our attendees. So we host a 1 week session. I think Dr. Plucker calls it Ed Policy Boot Camp each summer. And it usually happens in Washington, D.C., and we usually try to plan it around the summer recess. So our students are in person in Washington, D.C. And just again, to give some background information, in the last few years, Johns Hopkins University at large has purchased a piece of real estate that is literally blocks down the road from the U.S. Capitol, like within walking distance, very, very close. And that has opened up huge opportunities for us, for our students, and through this experience to be able to be right there, present on Capitol Hill, for this experience. So sharing all that as background information, both Maddie and Emma, can you talk a little bit about what that 5-day residency experience was like for you? Like what did you do? What did what did that experience look like? And just what were like some of your big takeaways from that in-person residency in Washington, D.C. from this past summer?
I can start if you like on this one. So I've never been to Baltimore before. So this was a brand new experience, brand new city. I was brand new into the program. And whenever I went in, I'm going to be honest, there were a few speakers and topics that we talked about that I wasn't too familiar with, because sometimes my undergrad was just, I didn't cover that topic. So, and it might have been because of the pandemic, but I kind of went in with some topics being like, okay, interesting. And then, but I still wrote down what my peers said. It was a great way to learn firsthand what these topics are about, being able to ask questions to your peers about like what they thought, like what was their question about, what do they think their answer is to the question. So it was a brand new experience with some brand new topics for me. And it was a great way to kind of have open communication, not only with my peers, but also with the speakers as well, where if I honestly had a question that I thought that they would know the answer to, I felt totally comfortable asking that. I didn't feel like I was super inexperienced, because everyone else I feel like had those moments where they were like, I don't know what's going on, but I can figure it out. I can ask questions. I know I can be able to talk to these people. And that was only like right in the summer. That was at the start of the program. And I already felt that comfortable being able to be like, I don't know what's going on, but can someone help me? So that was really rewarding, especially because whenever I entered into the program, I was a year out of college. So I was brand new to the program. So there were some people there with years of experience already. And then there were some people like me. So it was great having those two different sides in my from peers in my cohort and from the speakers as well. So it was like a whole mix of experience. It was a whole mix of credibility and where they're at in their lives, where I'm at. It was great. I loved that week. I felt like, even though I kind of felt like a deer in the middle of headlights, I think that's how you say it. Sometimes I know that I was totally fine.
Yeah, I actually didn't go this past summer. I went 2 summers ago, and it sounds like Emma the same, I think. I am heartbroken I couldn't go this past summer, because I do believe that's the first time it was fully in DC. Before we were at the Hopkins campus in Baltimore, which was also great. And we took I think it was 1 day in DC, but we still got to meet like Senate staffers and everything. You got to meet some of your faculty members. I'm sorry, my cat just came in. You got to meet some of your faculty, some of your professors for the program as well. It was still fantastic in Baltimore, and then you're continuously invited back, and I was heartbroken I couldn't go this year, but it really is a rewarding program. You get to see everyone face to face, and you do get to ask questions, and then they also give you, I'm not sure of how this past summer went, but we got a bit of free time as well to connect with our peers. So I do remember like going out to dinner with some of them a few times, checking out Baltimore. Those that flew in, I drove in being so close, but some flew in and took an extra day and they went to like a museum in Baltimore and checked out a few things. So that's nice as well, that they really give you time to get to know everyone. And that's kind of where the connectedness comes from as well.
Yeah, I first thank you, ladies, because that was so much great information that you shared. I always tell students, I mean, I did not go through this program, but you know, from what I've heard, that 5-day residency experience is really like the keystone to your experience in this program. Again, that's really what sets us apart from other education policy programs. And you know, to the other questions that we had on, you know, just the connectedness. I think that's really the best opportunity that you have as a student in this program to, again, not only hear and connect and network with some of the top education policy makers in the field, but also to connect with your fellow classmates. Again, just to share with our attendees, you know, this experience happens in the summer, and our program starts in the summer. So, you know, this is generally within a few weeks of you starting the program. And that is done by design. So that way, you know, in, you know, the following semesters, in the fall, in the spring, when you are back home in the asynchronous, you know, learning environment again, you've been able to have those experiences like Emma and Maddie shared, that you've connected with your fellow classmates in person for that week-long experience. And you've been able to build that rapport to have those connections. And you know, again, I believe you had shared this, Maddie, you know, just looking at this past cohort from this last year. I know that for that summer experience, we had individuals flying in again from literally all over the country. Dr. Plucker, I think, was coming in from Tennessee. I know we had a student that was in Oklahoma, another one in Oregon, one in Florida. So, I mean, students are coming from all across the country, you know, for this week-long experience. And I think it only benefits you to build those connections, but also to broaden your network with your fellow classmates. And question that we got, you know, speaking of your fellow classmates, you know, Emma, I know that you've, you know, mentioned about, you know, starting this program as a more, you know, a younger professional, you know, just coming out of undergrad and then jumping in. Can you talk a little bit about some of your fellow classmates? Would you say that like the, you know, demographic of students in this program, you know, is everybody, you know, coming right out of undergrad? Are there, you know, more seasoned professionals that, you know, might be changing careers? Can you just share a little bit about like what your fellow classmates demographics look like, whether it's, you know, where they're from or where they're at in their careers?
I actually was shocked by how many weren't straight out of undergrad, honestly, in the program. Like you have a huge mix of, um, you know, the fresh out of undergrad, like me and Emma, we both took a year off after we graduated and then went into the program. And then you have some who are like in their 40s and 50s and in this full career. One woman I met, I talked to her about the experiential learning. I believe she was like an attorney in Arizona, and had like 2 or 3 kids, and she was so cool, but she was in the program as well. So quite a few of the our classmates have children, they have established jobs, they got into education policy because of their kids' schools, things like that. But then you have the younger ones like me and Emma who we are like fresh out of college as well. So you get a huge mix.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Just to share with everybody, we have a little less than 10 minutes remaining for questions. So just to be mindful and cognizant of that, I do want to try to get in as many questions as we can, but we will end the program shortly, right around or shortly thereafter of 5 o'clock Eastern time, because I'm sure many of you are logging in from all over the US. So ladies, could you share a little bit about like just your experience? Would you choose this program again? Like if you were starting over, coming out of undergrad, with what you know now, the experiences that you've had, would you choose this program again and why?
I I would definitely choose this program again. I think the flexibility, I think the content that I was introduced to, I think that um just the online program itself and the professors that we had for these classes were awesome. I would I would definitely do this again. I would probably want to try part-time rather than full-time just because like things happen in life. Like I had to withdraw from fall classes because of a medical emergency that I went through. And this school was so awesome with helping me out, being a great support system. Dr. Plucker even texted me afterwards and being like, hey, let's talk. I want to make sure that you're okay. First things first. Don't worry about the discussion post. That's okay. So I feel like where I was at with the support system, where I was at with the content, where I was at with the flexibility, was amazing. But I feel like having that part-time where I'm able to pace myself, I'm able to control like where I'm at. I don't want to overwork myself. I think that would probably be something that I would change, but I don't regret the pace that I was at. I think me wanting to try part-time is just like me trying to improve myself more, not like me regretting it. So I really don't have any regrets about picking this program. I would definitely do it again.
Before I start, I added my email in the chat. I'm more than happy to meet one-on-one if you have more questions or if you just want to email. Because I know this session went super quick. I didn't even realize we had less than 10 minutes left. I would 100% choose this program again. I was between here and like 4 other universities for education policy. I was looking at like American University, UPenn. I was accepted there, and just Johns Hopkins gave way more flexibility, like Emma talked about. I mean, the professors are super understanding, and I'm glad like they could accommodate her, and they're like that with everyone. I mean, completely understanding and there for you. And it works well for me. I'm not a very like in person. I like to do things independently. I know it's great like getting to meet people, and then other students will collaborate on papers they've done or collaborate on projects. And then for me, I like to do things independently. So that works for me while also getting to read what other people are doing. So it really is what you make out of it. While I didn't get that with other programs that I was looking into, is very like, you have to be full-time, you have to be in person, you have to take this many credits a semester, and like that just isn't flexible for me. So I would 100% choose it again, and I recommend.
Thank you. Two final questions to wrap things up. So ladies, you've shared a ton about your experience, classwork, connecting with your fellow colleagues. What has been your favorite part of either the program, the Johns Hopkins School of Education? What has been your favorite component to your experience up to this point?
I don't know if I can say I have a favorite, because it sounds super like nerdy, I think, but you're in the right program for you when you actually want to do your homework. Like I love doing the readings, writing the papers, all of the research and everything we're learning just appeals to me. Definitely the favorite part. I mean, I think Emma may agree as well. The residency is unbeatable. But otherwise, I mean, I know it's asynchronous and no one's like, yes, I'm going to night class tonight at 8 p.m. But it really is like, you'll know it's for you if you actually want to do every single reading and like write all the papers, and you're like, yes, I'll do this student Q&A panel tonight because I love this program. So it just, all of it has been great. And Emma, go ahead, you can add to it.
No, that's a great point, because it's so crazy how before I really wasn't too familiar with policy. And after going through this program, I'm such a nerd about it. Like, I will talk to my friends in the middle of dinner being like, so did you hear about this new like legislation that just passed in New Jersey? And they're like, Emma, no, no, like they're nurses. They don't know this stuff. So you find out that you like nerd out about this stuff. It's crazy. You get more involved in the news. You get more involved about in what you are able, like the knowledge that you gain from this program. So it's crazy to see that. That's probably one of my favorite things. Another thing is finding out that you're actually interested in a topic, because again, I'm not a finance person. Like me and my even personal finances, I'm like, ooh. So being able to take education finance, that's my favorite class so far. That has been the most informative class that I've taken, to the point where I'm like sitting with my coworkers at my school being like, look at this. And they're like, yeah, isn't that crazy? I'm like, oh my God, I never did that. And so then I start nerding out with them. So that, like, being able to find content that you never would have thought you would have been a fan of, so much fun. And finding out that you can talk about it for hours, amazing. So I think those are my two favorite parts of this program.
I love it, ladies. Just your excitement, your passion, it is phenomenal. You both are incredible ambassadors for our program. And I'll say this again, but just thank you. Thank you so much for today and all that you've shared. To wrap things up and conclude our presentation today. So for both of you, if you had any advice that you'd like to share with prospective students in terms of like selecting an education policy program and planning ahead, what advice would you give to all of our attendees today that are prospective students for our program?
I would say definitely do your research on the programs. I mean, like I said, I was between about 5 different options, and I mean, Johns Hopkins has a great name, and so did the other schools I was looking into. And they just didn't quite fit my needs. I mean, it sounds nerdy, but maybe you got to do the pros and cons list. And then this is kind of more future advice, but whatever program you do end up going into, I highly recommend just jumping on every opportunity that they offer you. There's so many times where I go back and see an email where Dr. Plucker said, here's this opportunity, or here's this in education policy, and I didn't do it. And I'm just like kicking myself that I didn't. So take every opportunity to join a panel, go attend this Zoom meeting for this policy legislation. Just do anything that you can to get your name out there. And yeah, no matter where you choose isn't the wrong option, but Hopkins will be the best one.
I love it. I love it. Maddie, Emma, thank you so much for being here with us today. I appreciate you both for volunteering your time to chat with some prospective students, to share your perspective, and to give back to the next cohort of education policymakers here at Johns Hopkins. For all of our attendees today, thank you for being here with us and learning a little bit more about our program. As I shared earlier, we will have another webinar coming up next month that you can sign up for. We'll be sending out email blasts to register for that session, the same as we did for this session. That is, as I mentioned before, an experience of class. So a deeper dive into the academics and what your day-to-day experience will be like as a student in the education policy program. And that session will be run by Dr. Plucker. Most importantly, please stay connected. My message always is that you are never ever going through this process alone. From the point that you're at now as a prospective student, a future current student, even as an alum, we want to be here to help support and assist you through this entire journey. Myself, Emma, Maddie, Dr. Plucker. Again, we are all here to help and support in any way that we can. You see on the screen, you can find my contact information. Please feel free to reach out. I do offer individual 30-minute appointments. You can connect via Zoom, and we can have a one-on-one chat to answer any questions that are specific to you, to your experience. And I would love to connect with all of you as you begin this process. Also have to make a selfish plug that the application is open and available for the upcoming start term in summer 2025. So do not delay. You can begin your application now and get that completed. And I also always just like to share that it just is going to feel great to have that done before the holidays kick in a few weeks here. So highly recommend getting that process started and if possible finished sooner rather than later. But the application deadline is April 30th. So you do have plenty of time before the firm deadline to apply for summer 2025. And we do review applications on a rolling admissions process. So the sooner you apply, the sooner you'll be reviewed, and the sooner you'll have an admissions response from us. Again, please stay connected. Anything that I or my team can do to help or support, we're here for you. And thanks again for attending the student Q&A panel today. Have a great day, everyone, and I look forward to chatting again soon. Take care.